Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel PK Student Life. So today we will start with the class 6 political science, the second chapter that talk about diversity and discrimination. In the last chapter that we talked about diversity or about India and concept of diversity given by Pandit Nehru. Now in India, as we seen, there are lots of differences. These differences are in terms of the languages, the religions, the culture we saw in the last class. So India is going to be eight major religions that were in the world. All of the eight religions can be seen in India. It's going to be nearly 1600 languages and 100 dance forms. Now, how do people differ? They can be differ on the weight, the dress up, the food that eat, the languages that speak, as we seen in the last class. But above and beyond the attitude and the opinion, now this attitude and opinion forms the foundation for upliftment of the lower east as lower caste, as we seen in the further lecture. There are two terms that we must be very clear about it. One is prejudice and another is stereotype. Now prejudice involves in a kind of biased behavior or a negative feeling associated to something. So let's say a person who can't speak in English could be considered as a kind of inferior person. So it would be a kind of negative feeling associated to that person, depicted the fact that person can be know or know much better that person who can speak in English. So that's a kind of prejudice that exists. Now prejudice can also exist based on the skin color, based on the clothing. So all is given rise to prejudice. The other phenomenon that we would be studying in the stereotype. Now stereotype is a preconceived notion about something. So it's something that is fixed in your mind, or it's a kind of image that you have. So let's say you associated to various gender differences, so boys are not associated with girls. So that's a kind of prejudice that exists. So if a boy seen crying, he might be teased, he might be lot of act. So these are the things that occurs under prejudice. So it's a kind of three conceived motion about something. It's not related to necessarily related to negative feeling. So some other kind of stereotype are people says all sort of things about me. So this kind of a statement could be heard of from disabled child. The word disabled is now shifted to children, that the special needs giving priority to them. So now we move on the use disabled, we use children this with a special need, and there are certain things which prevent that from doing this. So discrimination that has been created in is primarily due to the stereotypes. So next thing that we trying to understand is the inequality. Now this discrimination can be used on the religions. The discrimination can based on the economic state, the poor and rich, and discrimination can be based on tribal and uh, non-tribal population. It can be based on the work a person is doing, what a kind of job he is doing. So if what a kind of person is doing. So if a person is doing, let's say, clearing or picking garbage, that could be considered as a kind of dirty job for some of the people. Who all this leads to determination, discrimination, and generate or create inequality in the society. Now all we say arises primarily due to the prejudice and the stereotype or the mental framework that has. Now interesting example is the Muslim girl were not allowed for education. Again, that's a kind of a stereotype that exists. However, in Kerala 60% of the teachers are female. The government has run a specific buses to go to the rural area. So the female teachers go to the rural area and teach students. The Muslim girls or the girls child is not educated because of the religions, but it is because of the poverty. Now Bheemrav Ambedkar, who is one of the founding father, great leader to fight for right of Dalits experiences. First kind of untouchability when 9 year old 1901, then he was trying to go Gurgaon to Maharashtra. At the station his father was about to receive him, but he did not turn to some reason. Later on the talk to a station master, uh, station master asked his caste. He said Har and Mahar students that time were considered untouchable in the Bombay presidency's reasons. No one came around at the last when there was no one at the station. It was nearly in the evening. They were stopped up how to leave the railway station, and finally none of the bullet card person entrusted to take him, following that they belong to the Mahar caste. So that was the kind of caste discrimination that was faced during the 1901 period. These episodes are related to the caste system that is prevalent in society, or the untouchability. Now the caste system is considered or to as a kind of leader system where upper caste occur at the top of the ladder system, and you have the Dalit, which are considered as untouchable towards the lowest hierarchy. These Dalits were later on another constitution of in India renamed as scheduled caste. So you have now SC. SC. The word Dalit itself means broken. So that was the technical meaning of the kind of form of you have that various leaders later on who further write on the Dalit student. And there was a mean of a strike of equality among with the people who were fighting independence during that time. There were various internal movement or social reforms that they're taking place, which we would seen in the we move on in the higher classes. So these social movements were primarily working towards reforms in the society, or the inequality, to remove the inequality that existed in society itself. So the main certain of reforms movement were Dalits, women's, tribals, and peasants. Women are working for right education. Dalits were demanding right into temple entry, and Dalit child is not allowed to sit alone with the upper caste child in the same classroom. So those for the kinds of episodes are occurred. Now B.R. Ambedkar, Bheemrav Ambedkar was the first person in the Mahar community to receive education to college, and later on going to England, London for his higher education and pursuing the lawyer degree. Again, there were various demand that were coming up. Finally, when the Constitution of India was referred, it was clearly mentioned that all the people of India were considered equal. So there were equal rights, equal opportunities for all this, and caste system of the untouchability was considered as occurs, and each of is to be as a college that was proposed of in the constitution. So there was open entry for all these government jobs. That was one of the major step of equality that was taken during that time. Again there was a right of equality for the poor and marginal communities. There were no religions, no languages, no festivals that could become compulsory in the country. Considering in this part, India became a secular nation that respected the presence of all religions on the Indian land. So with this, we covered the second chapter of the NCERT Class 6 Political Science. We will become we will be coming further lecture, so please subscribe to this channel.